Jesse, thank you. This morning at 9 o'clock, House Democrats are set to unveil at least 2 articles of impeachment against President Trump. Sources telling ABC News one charge will be abuse of power, the other obstruction of Congress. Today's announcement follows a day-long Judiciary Committee hearing yesterday. They laid out the case against President Trump and then the rebuttal. At 8 o'clock this morning, the panel will be meeting to review those charges. Then again, the 2 articles of impeachment are expected to be unveiled at 9 o'clock. You can watch the special report right here on News 5. We'll also stream it for you on the News 5 app.
2 state representatives created a bill that will require first responders to take part in dementia training. That training would teach them how to identify symptoms and interact with people who have dementia. Under the bill, the Attorney General's office would work with the Department of Aging to make the program happen.
Fatheads Brewery is releasing a new beer today that supports a Special Wish Foundation. That organization helps grant wishes for kids here in our area who have life-threatening illnesses. And it was actually a dad of one of the children who helped brew this ale. His daughter is battling leukemia. The holiday ale will be tapped at 5:45 this afternoon at Fatheads in Middleburg Heights. Great reason, right? To enjoy a brew there,
Sounds
Trent.
like a plan to me. We've got some cold air coming in town, so by 5:45 this evening, whenever they start tapping that, it is going to be much colder, and we may even still have some snowflakes flying around, but for Fatheads, you should be fine. You should be far enough inland to where it shouldn't be that big of a concern. This is what I'm talking about. Clouds, yes, all day today. Doesn't look like much. We've got a little bit of a southwest kind of flow with all of this, but notice this mess near Kalamazoo, near Michigan. That's going to be coming our direction. There's going to be some bursts of snow with that. Could briefly get slick, but I don't expect this to be a widespread issue, and I do expect most of us to just have to deal with the cold today. Ashtabula outside right now, you're still at 40 degrees. Wind chills are at freezing at 32, but you've got that west wind. We're going to get a little bit of a northwest wind. In Ashtabula, you're likely going to be dropping into the low 30s this afternoon. By midday, you'll be in the low 30s, and you're going to have some snowflakes flying around towards the end of school. So get ready for some snowflakes the farther north you are, and if you are in the snow belt, the farther south you are, it's more or less just cold all day. Low 30s all day. I know it feels okay right now because I've got some 40s, but that won't be the trend. If it feels nice right now, you still want to grab the extra layers. It's going to be cold. You'll need it later on.
Next, a deadly volcano eruption in New Zealand. Several tourists are dead and more are missing. Some are now questioning if they should have even been there in the first place.
And ending the cycle, a new report suggesting changes to how states handle repeat OVI offenders.
Hey there, folks. TJ Holmes here, ready to answer the question we have been debating for the longest. Who is the greatest of all time of Jeopardy champions? Well, we don't have to debate it anymore because we got the tournament coming up. The 3 greatest champions of all time are going to go head to head. And I just got a chance to chat with them, and this is some high-level trash talk, y'all. Here's your GMA First Look.
He makes big, aggressive wagers, but I mean, Brad and I have seen him play.
Okay.
You know, those are games where he played against newcomers.
Oh!
People off the street.
Oh, okay.
It's nice that he can, like, beat up on minor league talent.
Oh,
this is a different arena here.
I assure you, some of that trash talk, it was so high-minded, I don't even understand most of it, but still, you're going to see more of it at 7 o'clock on GMA. But I'm TJ Holmes on the set of Jeopardy with your GMA First Look.
Only Roomba i7 Plus uses 2 multi-surface rubber brushes and picks up more pet hair than other robot vacuums, and the filter captures 99% of dog and cat allergens. If it's not for my robot, it's not a Roomba.
Ow! So you think Santa will like these red and green M&Ms?
I don't know. I never met the guy. He does exist!
They do exist. Santa?
When you've crossed Fruit of the Loom off your list, you know your holiday shopping is complete. It's time to celebrate.
Celebrate! Holiday! So sometimes celebrate. Just one day out of life. It would be so nice to celebrate.
This is a terrible tragedy. a time of great innocence and joy interrupted by the horror of that eruption.
Yeah, investigators in New Zealand are now backing off claims of a criminal investigation into a volcano eruption. 6 people were killed. 8 others are missing. Scientists recently reported small volcanic tremors on the island, but passengers say of a cruise they weren't warned about any activity. Investigators are now wondering why tourists were allowed in that area as search efforts continue. Prime Minister of New Zealand is standing by everyone affected.
To those who have lost or are missing family and friends, we share in your unfathomable grief at this moment in time and in your sorrow. Your loved ones stood alongside Kiwis who are hosting you here, and we grieve with you and we grieve with them.
Most of the victims were tourists from a cruise ship excursion. A couple from the U.S., that's what you saw there. That couple, they were celebrating their honeymoon. They're in the hospital now with severe burn wounds.
Timer now is almost 6:16. Tomorrow, Congress could hear from the Boeing employee who raised concerns about the company's 737 MAX program. Ed Pearson is expected to testify before the House Transportation Committee. He raised concerns to managers about mistakes and cutting corners that he said he saw with Boeing 737 MAX planes. You remember that fleet grounded earlier this year after 2 deadly crashes overseas. The FAA administrator is also expected to testify at the hearing.
Drunk driving arrests were down last year, but people getting behind the wheel under the influence were still blamed for 10,000 traffic deaths. A new report now is recommending states change how they handle repeat offenders. The Governor's Highway Safety Administration says 1/3 of deadly crashes in 2018 were caused by drivers with prior convictions for driving under the influence. They now suggest states take a more individual approach for those drivers. That would include officers doing field assessments for drug and mental health issues.
If we do this approach for everybody, essentially, if we screen and assess, we're going to identify those people early on who may have these problems, and we can hopefully help them get the treatment they need before they do it again.
In Ohio, there is a special registry for repeat OVI offenders, but they don't go on there until they're convicted 5 times within 20 years. Look at this. In Iowa, police had to deal with this major crash. About 50 cars and trucks were involved in this mess. So yesterday, as snow was hitting the state, 1 person was seriously hurt. Overnight, some wind chills were below 0. That's why when there's bad weather here, Trent, we say if you don't need to be anywhere, don't be out in these streets.
Right? Yeah, look at all those trucks. 4-wheel drive helps you get going. It doesn't help you stop.
Ooh.
So, man, completely different story behind us. Looks absolutely beautiful. Look at this. I need to step up my game. You guys have Christmas lights up? You guys have your...
Sure do.
Being as though I live in an apartment, no.
Inside.
No.
Inside.
No.
I need to step up my game. I have a sad display. Look at this tree. This is in Sandusky. I got a tree in my front yard, but there's like 1/3 of those lights on my tree. Anyway, if you've got Christmas lights, I want to see them. I always like to see the colors, like to see the Christmas lights. Anyway, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, post me some of your stuff. I want to see them. Anyway, Sandusky looking outside, but you can also see that tree's kind of shaking, kind of jiggling in the wind this morning. Yeah, we've got some wind outside. I've got some snowflakes, I've got much colder air, and I've got wind. All 3 today. Snow showers, not for everybody, but as far as the primary snow, but I think you could have some minor accumulations. Everybody gets the wind, everybody gets the cold. It's stuck around all day today. The wind back